first thing, our special special buildings was that we had in Colombia. We had a new gym. It's really pretty. I loved it. And for Scripture, they had a nice playground. For Colombia, we had a new track field that we could run, do our mile, we could walk, the parents could come and enjoy and have a wonderful time. Potrero, they have prep rallies every Friday, right? Every Friday. And in Colombia, oh my God, these are all for the men here. For the young, men, they're so handsome. Oh my God, they're so handsome, okay? They're really handsome, okay? It's because there's these two teachers in Colombia. They're so handsome, Mr. Galindo and Mr. Flores. They're so handsome, okay? They're so handsome. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying the truth. So I'm saying for the men here from back in the days when you guys were young, all the ladies were looking at you, they're checking you out, So, and another thing, I want to teach you guys to dance. So can you please stand up? I want to teach you how to dance. Is everybody up? Okay. The step that I'm going to teach you is salsa. Okay? So we put out one hand. We put one hand in our stomach, and we move to our beat like that.
Yeah, that might do it to my hips, so I can't.
So that's one step of salsa.
Thank you very much. All right.
I'm going to take that back. My grandma used to say.
Well, actually, we never thought about community resources being handsome guys at the school, but we're going to have to add that to our list. You guys want to?
Do you want us to just stand here?
Oh, you can just stand. Okay. You can stand here, wherever.
Good afternoon, everyone. So in the spirit of partnership, we're here together to share and collaborate. I'm the superintendent of a neighboring district, Mountain View Elementary District, and what we wanted to talk about was a little bit of the collaboration and the partnerships that we have existing already that you may not know about. Can you hear me? Okay, how about that? No? It's the walls. The first is, you may have heard already, is called El Mani's Promise, and that is a citywide collaboration among our districts and the city and nonprofits and groups that are really interested in creating a college-going pathway for our students. So that has built and built and built, and now we are collaborating with, actually it's the El Monte Union High School District with UC Irvine, Rio Hondo, and Cal State Los Angeles. And the goal is that we want to have a pipeline that provides not only the academic supports, but the money and the resources so our students can get through college and be part of that 11% and grow it bigger. And then among the districts academically, we are partnering with the California Community Foundation. They have a grant here in the city, and through that, the focus has been on youth. And so the group has identified that we really need to focus on our long-term English learners. So we've partnered with Californians Together and El Monte City and Mountain View and El Monte Union have met for the past, we're in our second year, and there's a lot of different outgrowth from that, a lot of different groups. I don't want to get into all of them, but one of the interesting questions we had was, okay, that's us going out, reaching out and bringing in resources. What can we do so that we offer, what do we have that we can offer? So what can we as a group have, what do we have that can be interesting to businesses? So one of the things, of course, we thought of was space.
Our schools, the opportunity to make better use of our sites, after school hours, and show and somehow tie it all together so that it's a give and take. We're receiving from the community and we are giving back to the community.
So from this, what we thought about was, yes, it's great to try and create an endowment or a fund, but what can we do so that we add value to organizations that we want to partner with?
And the other part that we talked about was the fact that sometimes as adults, we engage in relationships and have ideas and try to bring them to fruition. But bottom line, as was mentioned earlier by Sherry, the main thing has to be, what's the return for our students? It may sound good to us as adults, but bottom line, what's going to be the benefit for our kids? That has to be what guides us in whatever we do.
Thank you.
We took a look at what makes El Monte special. And the number of us in our group have spent our whole career in El Monte. And so we think we're special just to begin with. So we take a look at it as why are we special? And I think we have we talked about it a little bit last time, we have a large portion of our employees who are either students of El Monte or coming back. El Monte City, we probably have about 30 to 35%. And so giving is what we like to do. We give back to what we have. We take a look at El Monte City School District employees are not afraid of work. We work hard. We try to work what's best for our kids. And you take a look at the nursing programs that we're bringing, our schools, our service centers. Parents are attracted to our schools because we provide services for them and their families. So we talked a little bit about the other four questions, but I think what we thought is that we want to continue providing resources to our students. We want to continue providing a place that they feel comfortable, that they can come and learn, and we want to take a look at what the future holds for our kids and how can we provide that, because we're not afraid of work.
You guys want to? Or is your... Oh. Okay. You guys want to share?
We talked about, sorry, it's not really where, I should know that by now. We talked about, or perhaps I talked about, what really struck a chord with me listening to our speaker was the partnership where we ask for things. We have organizations that want to use space on our campus, but I'd really like to see us do that win-win situation where we're getting something and they're getting something. That was a huge message to me, and I love the idea of providing coursework for your teachers. Our youngest teachers are usually the ones trying to get their master's degrees, who can least afford to pay for it because they're trying to move over on the salary schedule, and I'm thinking it would be great to offer courses for them that would build their capacity as teachers, math, after listening to Susanna Dutro, the grammatical structures of the English language, so that we have those skills, and find some sort of partnership where we can at least pay for half of their tuition. So our teachers will gain by taking the coursework, our students will gain by taking the coursework, and the universities have classes to offer as well. So I would love to see that happen on my campus. And Artie will go. Let's see, one more.
Okay. Do I stand up? So the other idea that we talked about was an interest-based mentorship with university students. So, for example, if a child had an interest in something like dance, maybe we could get a university student to mentor the child around the topic of dance, not necessarily teach them how to dance. It's ironic that we had somebody teaching us how to dance, but something like that, because it is hard to get people to provide mentoring. Sometimes people don't have time, but if a university student got some credit for doing that, perhaps it would be a win-win.
So who's sharing from your, no one's volunteering? All right. Shall we come back to you? All right, we'll come back. All right.
Our group spoke about concerns with duplication of resources, such as for scholarships and services, that the district does have partnerships that many people don't recognize that are there because they're more on a district level rather than on a site level. And the district is working hard at not only working on local resources, but also on the national level. And Mr. Olafson was part of our group, and he was discussing with us about how the district is working with the Clinton Foundation and how we've been able to provide support and services for the students through them. Other educational resources such as Whittier Narrows, Army Corps of Engineers, and we discuss about how there should be a clearinghouse of resources so that everyone has equal knowledge as to what is out there. And one of the things that Mr. Olafson also brought up was once we start a program or are able to begin offering services because of these resources that we are able to use, is the sustainability of those programs.
Over here so I can see everybody. We got off course a little bit, but really we're still on course. So we talked about the natural collaboration on for some school sites, like in Columbia with the courthouses, Gitley, I think, and Wright with science and math. And so those are already there. We just need to develop it into a deeper relationship where it's a win-win situation for all. We also talk about an untapped resource, which is right next to our school district, is the adult ed. What are they there for? To learn the language. What do they have? Skills. What do we need? Skills. What can we provide them? The opportunity to use the language. It's a win-win situation right there. We also talk about having to analyze what we as a school district and as school can provide. We have it. Now let's market ourselves like you need us as much as we need you. Also, another thing we talked about is retirees. We have one on our table that is a very important member of community, and I know he's doing a lot of good work at our school, and I think he's branching out to another school district too, right? And then, like they were talking about clearinghouse of available resources. That's what we need. We need to come out with something where we have an inventory of what is available for the district, for the school, for teachers, for families. And that's pretty much it.
We were a table of potpourri, kind of. We were overflow from other tables. So we'll just ditto on whatever tables we belong to. No, actually, we talked about people in our community that have already been successful in building partnerships, like Ken Weldon. He is so adept at getting partnerships and working with people out there from all over and using his expertise or learning from his expertise. In our own school district, Mike Rogel has built such partnerships in all aspects. There he is right there. For mental health, for disciplinary procedures that we have to abide by. Mary Borja and Virginia Ferdig, and before that, Valerie Wood. The partnerships that they have built with the health professionals in our area. And a lot of others that I can mention. But those partnerships are usually asking them to do something for us. Now, how can we build on those partnerships so that it's a win-win situation where our kids learn from the health professionals, the mental health professionals, the courthouse. Somebody mentioned the courthouse. We have a partnership there too. And that's what we talked about here.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I just want to build off of what the young lady was saying over here. I think that we have the best looking cafeteria ladies in all California. Oh my God. So in our group, we talked about El Monte being an intact community, that they have a long history, they have an intact loyalty programs, we have lots of traditions, lots of families, we have K through 8 communities, so we see families for a long period of time. We sometimes have 9 years to establish those relationships. Building off some of the ideas that our group came up with, we partner sometimes with communities of faith, and we might want to look at, continuing to do that. There's a number of resources that we can look at there. With programs like the Rotary Club and Toastmasters, because one of the most important things right now for young people, being that they communicate with their little gadgets and whatnot, is public speaking. What can we do with Toastmasters or Rotary Clubs or places like that, groups like that, to help young people with public speaking skills? Boys and Girls Clubs and Girl Scouts, we can work with them more to get more service hours. With the YMCA and, like I mentioned, Boys and Girls Club, maybe coming up with a community center that would be something that everyone could share. All different types of groups could come to the community center and work together, maybe a computer lab. The high schools, we talked about a partnership with them so that students who are accelerating in 7th and 8th grade can move on to the high school, take a few classes there if they're really great. If they're whiz at math, maybe being able to go to one of the high schools and take some of the math classes. And then wood shop, we talked about maybe partnering with a hardware store to get free materials and to do some apprenticeships and things like that. And then lastly, we talked about agriculture, maybe partnering with someone like Cal Poly Pomona here, which has a wonderful nutrition program. They also have a great restaurant and hospitality program, partnering with them to kind of give kids that are interested in that field an avenue to pursue those dreams. Thank you.
We're kind of an overflow group as well, so some of our ideas are very similar to what's been shared already. But one of the things we discussed here is that we need to take a field trip around El Monte so that we could see what resources are there, because we usually go to the same ones, and it's not Honda Longo, but Toyota Longo, pretty much where we go, and the airport. But there's so many other resources that we don't know about, so we talked about the military museum. When we take our students on field trips, they either don't go because we don't have the funds, but there are places that we can take our students that are nearby, like the military museum. How many of you know where the military museum? Yeah, and it's within walking distance to Potrero and Loma and I think Sherp, maybe Cortada. So that's what we talked about, that before we could tap in, we need to know what's there, and it involves us going out there and actually taking a big survey of our community.
We spent the most time on number one, which is what makes El Monte unique. And what Mr. Halverson stated was that El Monte is a caring community. And it's obvious when you look around the room. But something else that's really unique about us is a lot of people that work in El Monte actually grew up in El Monte. And so we're just kind of homebred. And then we talked more about how to tap into, like Adriana just said, different resources in the community and places that we forget about, like the senior center, you know, kids and our seniors working together, the California Community Foundation, and creating speakers bureaus so that there's access to all our kids. A lot of us have great things happening in our schools, but it's not happening at all the schools, and so it's creating equity for all our children.
We also spent a lot of time discussing number one and what makes El Monte very special, and it's among the many reasons is the caring and the sense of family and loyalty. One of the other things that we talked about in response to the speaker, what touched us was that creating that win-win situation for both when you're creating a partnership. So not just requesting because we need money or we need something, but really coming in with our strengths and saying this is what we can bring and this is how we can improve your service or your business, and how you can improve your service or your business. One of the current partnerships that we had discussed is the partnerships with the CALs, or all of the administrators in all of the districts. Now we do get together and work and collaborate with with Mountain View, with the high school district, and so we're discussing that within that current partnership. Now that it's very strong and we can move past like an instructional sort of institutional collaboration, and really moving into looking at how we can share our facilities, how can we share our human resources, how can we truly create a linear educational experience for our kids, and that it's seamless from our K-8 districts into the high school. So that's one of the things that we discussed.
We talked a lot about what actually is that collaboration. We started off with, okay, when we saw the presentation and it was, we're working together, and you're providing this much money, we're providing this, and Steve in our group made the comment, it's that collaboration, that win-win is not necessarily going to be money. Someone may come out with more of a, I guess, advertising goal as opposed to spending financial funds. So we spend a lot of time talking about, getting a kid into a welding shop just because there might be that aspect where the kid's going to have to draw, and getting that student to design. We also thought about how can we get them, just like you said, the military museum. I worked there, and so that was one of the jobs I had. The trucks, I painted them. So the owner and I go way back, and he's a nice guy, and we were talking about getting the kids there, asking kids, kind of reflecting on adding what we did the first session to the second session on what do our kids like, how can we get them involved, as well as part of that collaboration. The high school has the ROP program where kids who are RSP students may be at, I believe it was Smart and Final, stocking shelves, doing things that are going to help them with their life. And so that was mainly our conversation here with the collaboration, is trying to get not necessarily a financial win, but a win for our students, and knowing that some places like a florist where you used to work, they were happy to give stuff out just because they wanted their name. They didn't really want anything else in return. They just, hey, put some flowers up, please put our name by it. and that's what we need. So that's the focus of our conversation. How can we get our kids with the community together?
I think our group talked pretty much about everything that we've done, but I think that there's two areas that we talked about: partnership and how do they provide opportunity for that person down the line. And one example that we thought of was Western University, where we have vocational nurses, where we have dental assistants that come in, they do their training, and in return, it's not a monetary reward for our students, but they get a dental cleaning, they get dental work done. These vocational nurses provide health care to our students. They get a training that down the line allows them to have a better life. We're able to provide those people that are struggling to find health care with that health care that they need. We also thought about the Tamalada, where all the businesses come together and they offer opportunity to undocumented students to get a 4-year education. And when we look at the percentage of people that come back to friendly El Monte, that come back to our community, it's indicative of the impact it has later on, not only during that time period, but later on in their life. And finally, we talked to one person that had a great impact throughout our community, which is Bobby Salcedo, and the number of community events where the community really comes together. We're able to find resources, which does 3 things that are most important. It provides opportunity, it provides support services, and in terms of longevity, it offers someone with a resource or a skill to be able to live a quality life like all of us. And that's pretty much the emphasis and everything that we talked about in our team.
Right. Thank you.
To add to all those other great ideas, some of the things we came up with, how about utilizing, for instance, Aspire, what we have on most of our campuses right now, and creating some type of labs as part of the day where they can actually invite experts from the community in and maybe spend some time studying a certain career or I thought we brought up the airport, the other areas, our nutrition department, but why not focusing in our Aspire after-school programs on some careers and having them do project-based learning during that time. We also discussed, the idea of magnet schools came up, or academies. Why not take our K-8 schools that we have currently and have experts on each campus, maybe a science and math academy at one of the K-8 schools, and then if we have a student who comes our way with strengths in that area, we can send them off to one of the expert schools. There's Academy of Performing Arts schools, we can tap into that kind of thing and just utilizing what we already have. We discussed job shadowing came up. So the idea of giving our students an opportunity to shadow a career person in the community. I think, Whittier Narrows Nature Center, I didn't even know existed. We have a nature center in our community and possibly tapping into like the rangers there and the agriculture department and so forth.